I want to go on a rant because I just finished Interview with the Vampire. I binged it particularly since yesterday. I just started watching it really late yesterday, and I finished it. And I want to crash out because genuinely, why? How? Explain to me. Because to be honest, they're making Lestat look better than Armand. Like Lestat is better than Armand, but Armand just hit the nail on the coffin. Like he just I am crashing out because of him. But the show was amazing. I loved it. I loved everything about it. How we navigate Lestat and Louis' character, how we've moved on from the whole situation. And I love the time skip. I love the fact that we got like the fact that this wasn't something that just happened right after season two. It was something that just happened a couple of years later, which doesn't give. I feel like the way the show, the theme of the show, particularly because it was designed to be lighthearted, it was just well done. That they should have just let them have a gap and deal with everything that happened 2 years ago, and then just the show starts off 2 years later. Because I feel like for them to have a very comical and humorous season that they had for season three, they had to like somewhat separate themselves from season one and season two. But I just want to commit a little crime. Just Armand. Armand. If you watch the show, you would know why I'm crashing out. Armand, beyond comparison. To be honest, I feel like the show really just kind of broke my heart. If you look at something not at face value, but if you actually really like watch the show and try to understand the complexity of this character, his life has been so tragic. Like he's born from someone who never really loved him or bothered to care about him, and then on top of it, she does love him, but the love is like restricted and has boundaries and has conditions that he can't sometimes meet because he's just a child and it is he's her child particularly, which kind of really breaks my heart because you kind of see it throughout the show because like you can clearly see that there's signs where the mom does a very good job at drawing an emotional boundary with Lestat, and Lestat kind of tries to break through that boundary but he can't because I feel like the thing that really broke me is when she said I love you to Lestat before she abandoned him. I feel like that was the key moment when she severed the motherly son connection that she had with him and she completely wanted a freedom from the whole aspects of being a mother, a wife, a woman, and all of this. And she was free of all of that and became a vampire, which is kind of heartbreaking. And how the whole situation occurred really broke my heart. But damn, Lestat just went through a lot. He tried his best. He tried in every way to please his mom, to get the validation he always wanted. But that validation never came in a complete, like in its completeness. It came in portions. It came in tiny amounts, which kind of made sense why he kind of had an obsession with his mom and why when she turned into a vampire they had that relationship because he never really got what he wanted from her. He never really got the support of a mom, the validation of a mom. She was a mom to some degree when she was human, but she destroyed that bond completely when she turned into a vampire, which is kind of dark. And I also feel like the way she did it was also one of the reasons why Lestat ends up being who he is in the rest of the shows, like particularly season one and season two, because if we look at how he was transformed into a vampire, we kind of see that like there's this horrific transformation. He gets kidnapped, he gets abused, he gets assaulted. He's literally Magnus is drinking his blood. He'll kill someone, drop off the corpse, and then drink his blood. And we're seeing this from the perspective of like, damn, Lestat is really going through a lot. And then after he's gone through this horrific transformation process, he runs back home to save his mom and turns into a vampire and not really digesting what happened to him for a whole entire week. And then I think for him, his mom gave him like some level of validation, like the ultimate validation that he's always wanted when he transformed her and gave her the freedom that she's always craved. It kind of did blow up in his face, particularly because I think instead of celebrating and enjoying her new freedom, she stayed with Lestat to show thanks, like to be like, I'm grateful for what you did. So then they end up moving back to Paris after they kill the whole family, where the mom meets Nikki's Lestat's boyfriend. She's just there like, oh, the mom was just there like, you should let that guy go. He ain't proper. Lestat doesn't listen because that's his first love. It's not his true love, but it's his first love. And when the mom kind of saw that dynamic, she was just there like, hey, don't do this. Don't turn him into a vampire in this relationship. It's not gonna work. The mom had a point. This is where I feel like this is the key point where we realize that the mom is good at giving advice. Besides that, hectic. But the mom gives him advice and he doesn't listen and transforms his partner Nikki goes on his frantic rant and does all of these things and ends up like destroying his life and whatever, to the point where he ends up getting himself killed. And then you would think that Lestar would start digesting that his partner has died. Not really. He runs off again with the mom because the mom was just there like, it's fine, we'll go to another town. It doesn't matter, blah blah blah. As we see that sequence of event occur, you see Lestat starting to embrace being around his mom. He's thinking that his mom would be his companion and his mother for the rest of his life, like, for eternity, because they're vampires now. The mom proceeds to do the most horrific thing ever and then abandons Lestat. And the worst part about Lestat is when the mom abandons him, he's not dealing with one type of abandonment, because the way she abandons him is also very horrific, because she proceeds to proclaim her love to him and be like, I love you, you're my son, I love you. And the worst part is, getting that affection that he was never able to get kind of let him be whimsical, not paranoid on what his mom would be capable of doing, which gave Gabriella a way to escape him. And when he is finally left alone to deal with what the mom had did and everything that had gone down throughout the whole entire season, I feel like that's the most heartbreaking part, is because he was never dealing with the abandonment and the lack of validation from his mom, Gabriella, the vampire Gabriella. He was dealing with the trauma. He was dealing with the trauma of being abused for a week, seeing corpses, his transformational trauma. He was going through so many things and multiple times. He finally had to deal with the death of his partner, Nikki, and cope with it and try to navigate it. And the one thing that the show does a very good thing at highlighting is that the lack of love. He was alone and he feared the loneliness, and he genuinely tried in a way that just broke me in some way, but it was good. Besides Armand, if you don't talk about Armand, I'm good. That show was just amazing and I really loved it. It was really good. This is a review from Just Tate. And maybe I'll post another thing next week, but this is my review on the interview with the vampire Lestat. I loved the show. It was amazing and I hope you all will subscribe.